Hello, and welcome back to Fusion Writing, where building character meets creating structure. And today is our map day where we go into more detail on our topic for the week. So without any further ado, I'm going to send it right over to Victoria. Victoria?
Hello and welcome back, everyone. Thank you for joining us for the map day. So as I mentioned in the compass, I got a lot of questions and responses to the zero draft. So a quick recap. The zero draft is the creative work that you do before you actually begin rough drafting out your scenes and chapters. Okay, so the zero draft encompasses what I like to consider all of the pre-writing work. So what does that include? Well, first and foremost, it includes all of the little tidbits that you are collecting on your note cards. So if you're gathering experiences throughout the day, like I talk about your experience collection, maybe you see an abandoned car and that sparks an idea, and so you record it on a note card. Maybe you're having a conversation and someone says something in such a way that kind of makes you smile because you think, you know what, that sounds like that one character's voice. So you record it on a note card. So now you've gathered a few items. You've got a snippet of character voice, so you can start dialing that voice in your head. You've got a snippet of something which is an observation. So now you have a scene. Okay, see where I'm headed here? Now you're ready to start thinking about how to put these things together into some kind of form, right? You're ready to draft it out. So let's think about what that process might look like. One of my favorite ways of getting at what a story could look like is by creating something that I like to call a plot model. And I'm going to do a very simple 4-step one, just so that you have a sense of what it is. So when you have a plot model, you have a character and your character is here. Okay, so your character is somewhere in space. They're living their normal life. They're going about their normal days. Nothing extraordinary, nothing peculiar has happened. That's just your character in their normal life. Well, then, let's say something happens. Okay, so you've got a little bit of an action. Something goes on that takes your character up here. So that's your first point of movement. They've gone from their normal to something other. It could be something peculiar, something frightening, something that makes them very curious, something they discover. Okay, see how I'm doing that? You're just starting to think about what could this movement, what could this line from A to B represent? Then you know what I'm going to do next, right? Let's say that item that happens scares that character. Holy moly, it knocks them right off of their axis of comfort and it knocks them down. It takes them down a notch. And now they're down here. They're underneath where they started. So they've really dropped in story terms. So they've leaned into their fear. They've stuck their head in the sand. They've embraced their inner conservative, I don't want to see it, I can't deal with that, I'm panicking right now, and they've just shut down. So you can see how you're moving them through the story based on what they're observing. So now let's take that scene we talked about earlier. Let's take that character who has observed the abandoned car, okay? And they're wondering now, okay, something frightened me, and I don't know what to do with it, and I'm not curious about it. I'm kind of terrified, but now I'm kind of maybe starting to get a little curious. So what's going to happen is that character is going to take a little tick up again. So all you're doing is you're allowing yourself to consider what are the options and how might those options play out, and then you're just visualizing those on a very simple plot map. This is what we call a plot model or a story model. You're just letting your brain think about what does that look like as each thing occurs. The groovy thing about a plot model or a story model is it allows your brain to lock in visually what that story looks like. Now, my pantsers and my visual learners, I'm talking to you, because for me, I need to see my story before I can write it. So if that resonates with you, plot modeling is a great component of your zero draft. Because what are you doing? You're letting your brain visually map out on a page what those things look like, so that then you pack that in there and you let it percolate for a few days, and then your brain starts coming up with more ideas. It's really cool. Once you plot it out on a model, let it sit and percolate for a bit, then you start finding your way through that story because you can see it. Okay, I was here. Now I need to get down here. What is that fall or that fail going to look like? Just put that question in your brain and let your brain figure it out. And then if you've been collecting your experience cards, when you sit down to actually do that writing, deal those cards out and lay them out so that they're in front of you. And then look at your model and say, okay, my character's here. I need to get them down here. What is that going to look like? And then review your cards, because I guarantee something will bubble up from all of that thinking and that thought collecting, and you will have an idea about how to get your character from here to there. So that addresses a question that I got multiple times, which is, I know what I want my story to be, but my character's here and I don't know how to get them over there. Sometimes we call that the connective tissue, right? How do you get them from A to B? This is how you do it. You plot model it out so that you can see what it looks like, and then you start collecting your thoughts, your experiences, and your ideas on your cards, and then sit down, deal them out, and make the review to start the writing. So when we get to next week and we talk about our Zettelkasten, I'm going to give you some specific tips and tricks for how to put these pieces together in a modular way to help prime that writing pump. So when you go from the zero draft to the actual creative writing, you're ready to tackle that project because you've already put everything in your head, and what you haven't put in your head is safely stored in your cards. So with that, I'm going to throw it back over to Kathleen because she has got a treat today. Kathleen?
Oh, thank you, Victoria, on that very interesting note. My ears sure perked up when you talked about what you're going to cover next week regarding our Zettelkasten week, because boy, does that dovetail with what I'm going to cover, because I have a lot of questions of people who've been in my 35-week Reawaken the Dream course, and they are asking me how to fit the plot points into the structure that they're working with from Reawaken the Dream. And I promised that this would be the week that I would show them where that fits into my card numbering system. And you're going to show them how to design the points that go in there. So, wow, what a perfect match we will have. Well, this week, we are starting a whole new unit in the chapter and the section on characters. We have visited a whole library of 28 different character traits. And what you're going to have over on LiLLiPub, if you come on over there, and if you aren't on LiLLiPub, you can pause the video and make screenshots to get pictures of these, but you will have these available on a PDF over on LiLLiPub. So to show you, I'm going to switch over to my down-facing camera so you can see these pages. Now we have covered 4 groups of character traits. They are based on the external world, on managing oneself, on observations that we make of the world around us, and on our interactions with other people. And from these questions, this will begin your first spot in analyzing what character trait your character needs to express what the struggle is that they're working on, because we're going to find out that matching character traits is all about the struggle. That's the key thing. We think of these emotions, but everyone has different emotions in response to different struggles. And not only that, cultural differences as well, and in differences through history, if you're writing historical fiction. But what is constant all the way from pre-humans all the way up through humanity is the struggle. And that is the stable point. And that's what we're going to be working on in this unit, is how to use the struggle first to determine what character trait group you're in, and then from the character trait group, which character trait is appropriate. Now this, if you're on LiLLiPub, you'll get this as a PDF. If you're not on LiLLiPub, just do a screenshot. Okay, so that's how we're going to narrow in on which character trait that you want. But before we can put a character trait on a character profile diagram, which captures the character traits for our character, we have to know a little bit about the character profile diagram itself. Now, the character profile diagram simply looks like a wheel, and today we're going to talk about that yellow line across the middle. It's going to take us quite some time to cover all of the character positions because they each are individual, and they each have different ways that you can find which character trait belongs in that position. So today, this week, we're focusing on that yellow line across the middle that we call the rudder position. And the reason we call it the rudder position is because it drives the story, just like a rudder drives a boat. This is your position of control. It's the only position of control in the story, is this rudder position. And we call this the zone of awareness. And the reason why it's called the zone of awareness is this is the character trait where your character is consciously aware of the struggle, consciously aware of a decision that has to be made. And those decisions are what drives the character's movement from one plot point to another. How is he going to react to that thing that sent him plunging down? What decision made him go falling down? What was he afraid of? Was it fear? What stopped him? These are the things that we're going to look at, but we're going to be looking at it from the lens of the character is consciously aware that he is battling something. He's struggling to make a decision. It's in his mind, it's in his thought process. So we'll take that concept, he's thinking about it, he knows about it, and then we're going to say, okay, is it a physical world problem that he's dealing with it? Is it a relationship problem that he's dealing with it? Is he having trouble getting self-mastery? Or is he having trouble figuring out what's actually going on? And from those 4 starting points, that will begin to narrow us down using those charts. So from the starting point, let's say it's something in the physical world that's causing him a problem. Then we narrow it down from there to the subgroup from there to the character trait itself. And those charts will get you through it. If you have my book, you'll have more information because each of those character traits has an entire page devoted to it. And there's an entire section on the character profile diagram. But we will cover it enough that you'll be able to actually try this out. So from those charts, try it out. Play with the characters that you've got walking around in your head and start out by saying, what are they struggling with? Characterize the struggle, then sub-characterize the struggle, and then focus in on which character trait it is. Because those character traits in Unit 3 you'll be able to see how they affect the choices that your character makes. Well, Victoria, do you have anything else you'd like to wrap us up with?
That was just a pile. I mean, that's just a pile of gold right there. Not kidding. Number 1, guys, if you don't have Kathleen's book, go get Writing with Emotion. Mine, I don't know if you can see it. It's right behind me on my bookcase. And my book is embarrassingly the binding is almost gone. I use it all the time. But the thing is, it's a tool, okay? Everything that we're sharing with you are tools in your toolkit. And what I have found is sometimes I need a hammer and sometimes I need a screwdriver, and other times none of my tools work or I don't know which one to choose. So if you're feeling a little overwhelmed by all this, because I know sometimes the terms can throw you off. I know I was terrified in the beginning. The character trait scared me to death because it was so confusing. Just dip a toe in, trust the process, trust the characters that live in your head, because they're going to help lead you through this with inspiration. And of course, your muse will be chiming in. But just come with us on this journey, because you're in very good hands with Kathleen. She has nailed this down so many times. She's going to get you through it. And in terms of plot and story, we've got lots of tips and tricks to help get you there. So stick with us. Go join LiLLiPub so that you can join in the conversations over there and ask questions and interact with us. You have us at hand all the time, which won't last forever, so take advantage of that. And get the words on the page. That's what we're here to do. So follow Kathleen's advice, get some of those practice ideas out, think about that struggle, and then come back and join us so that we can keep pushing forward and figuring out how to toggle these things around and get those characters developed so that you can get your book written. We'll see you in LiLLiPub.
Thank you, Victoria. That's lillypub.org. We'll see you over there. And there's a terrific conversation thread in the writers subgroup over on LiLLiPub, exactly on character traits, with how are you going to figure out the character traits of your key characters. So there's a nice discussion thread that's already active over there on this topic, which you might want to join in with. So I'll see you over there, and hope to see you on Saturday for our Fusion Writing Gathering. We meet on Zoom every Saturday. Victoria, you want to explain that one? You lead that.
Absolutely. We thought it would be fun to have an ongoing kind of shared write with me, study with me workspace. So beginning at noon Central Time, I put up the feed. I'm sitting here writing anyway during that time. So I thought, why not invite everyone into the library? So just pop in. I'll be sitting right here working. So we sprint from 12 to 1 Central, and then from 1 to 2, anyone that wants feedback or discussion about something they're working on, post that in our shared documents. And then we just have a roundtable discussion. It's very informal. It's very friendly and kind. So if you've never shared work before, do not fear. We're there to talk about character development, to talk about story development, and just to discuss in a general way, is the story working, and give you some feedback. So join us from 1 to 2, we'll do the workshop. And then from 2 to 3, again, Central Time, I leave the feed up because I go back to writing. Now, sometimes our discussions continue on until 3 o'clock, which is super awesome because we go deeper into a topic and start to really explore things, which is which is an excellent way to get everyone involved and explore those topics. But otherwise, we'll just click off the audio and we'll just sit and work together for an hour. Sometimes we even stay longer. It's just an open, friendly space. So do come and join us. We love to see new people. Even if you're not sharing, just pop in and listen and get your feet wet and know that you're welcome and that we're ready to welcome you in and help you out.
And just think, you get all that for your $8 a month dues for LiLLiPub. That's just crazy. People spend thousands of dollars, literally thousands of dollars, to get the level of coaching that people on LiLLiPub get for $8 a month. That is a steal. Hope to see you over there. Bye-bye.